Hi, and welcome to another hotel edition of Race Stories with Billy and Sam. We are attempting the world record for 70.3 or 113 kilometer triathlons in 1 year. And this is going to cover Storm the Fort and Ironman, Maine. I feel like I should get another word in there. Like Lobster Man or we've had Muscle Man, we've had, I don't know.
Titanium Man, that one actually wasn't Titanium Man. It was
Titan. You were a Titan.
Yeah, you were a Titan. We're about to do Casadaga Man or
We have no idea how to pronounce it.
Casadaga.
Yeah.
Casadaga.
Stay tuned. We have a single this week, this weekend, and pretty excited about it.
We get a break.
I thought we got a break. We have 3,500 feet of climbing.
All right, so I guess let's start out, and since we're going stories, let's just go through it. So from the beginning to the end.
Monday. Picture a beautiful Monday evening, serene, calm. We've just come off of 2 doubles in a row.
Yeah. Looking forward to heading to California.
So very excited for a picturesque weekend in the California mountain. I don't actually know what that mountain range is.
No, it was Lake Tahoe.
In Lake Tahoe.
Isn't that in Nevada?
It's fine.
Whatever.
That one. So excited for a restful, blissful weekend when I get this shrieking phone call from Billy.
Hey man, did you get the email?
What email?
The one from Lake Tahoe saying they canceled it for smoke.
They what?
So we've had these issues with smoke for several weeks. At the beginning of August, we were in Boulder, and it actually was smoky. And then, was it the very next weekend in Seattle? They were having smoke issues and had threatened to cancel the race.
They did. Yes, that was.
And did not.
Did have smoke issues, though.
Yeah, it cleared out by the race, though. I think it was the day before.
Yeah, it was bad the day before, and then it started light in the morning and got heavier through the day.
Okay. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to us, but it did. And so we had to come up with alternate plans. What do these alternate plans include?
This is my fault. I'm going to take this.
I don't know. I don't know. You might not have to get the blame for this.
Okay.
So first of all, Storm the Fort. So we actually knew about that race from the week before because it wasn't but like an hour away. We did a race in Tennessee and then a race Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so the race in Tennessee, there was another one an hour or so away that people had asked us if we were going to do it. We're like, no, we'd already signed up for Lake Tahoe. But we knew it existed, and we knew that it was half, so we could do it. So we immediately had, hey, well, we can do Storm the Fort on Saturday. In the meantime, Charlotte's looking at the Ironman race schedule, and she's like, oh, well, there's a Maine race. You can do an Ironman. If you want to do an Ironman race, it was in Maine. She was not saying do Storm the Fort and Ironman Maine. She was saying if you wanted to do an Ironman race, there was Ironman.
There was an option. So I immediately looked and said, is there a flight that could connect to those two?
I did not look for a flight.
That's the first thing I did.
No.
So that's where the responsibility lies.
I gotcha. I understand.
Yeah, I don't. So that was Monday night.
So Monday at 4:00 we had 0 races for the weekend because we had canceled. Monday by 8 p.m.
Okay, so yeah, Billy doesn't say no. And we learned last weekend that's called enabling. So, since he didn't say no, his exact words were, why don't you go ahead and email and just see if they'll allow race day check-in. Ironman doesn't allow race day check-in, and if you email the race name at ironman.com, they will say no. I mean, it's just that's what happens.
And that's the standard answer. We've gotten that a lot. But occasionally, there'll be a race director that's okay with it.
We have found, outside of that impenetrable, difficult, crusty shell of Ironman that is protected by that email, is this soft, nougaty center of caring people. So Ironman, and we started, and I was critical of Ironman because I just kept hitting that shell, the buffer that exists. But once you get to the race directors and Ironman employees is what I really want to call them. I don't know what to, managers and those kinds of levels.
They all know each other.
Oh, man,
every one of them knows,
tiny.
and they all work multiple races, and they all talk.
Yes.
And so, really, what happened, I guess, is in the beginning,
Nobody knew us.
nobody knew who we were.
Yeah.
But now, we've caused enough trouble. So this was the thing. I was like, we'll let Ironman decide, right? So if Ironman says no, there's no reason to push it. It's just no. We'll do one race in Tennessee, and it'll be a super easy weekend. It's driving distance for me. Could have driven up, driven back, had all day Sunday to do whatever we wanted to do.
It did not take 2 hours. It was less. This is the Monday of the race, and so we asked the race director for a special dispensation, and less than 2 hours later, Courtney had emailed us.
Yeah, it'd gone with like 3 or 4 people.
It's
and
incredible.
Courtney, who we've met at a couple of races, was the one that was going to have to do the work.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, Billy and Sam, good to see that y'all are coming to the races." Mind you, I was like, let's see what Ironman will say. I'm not positive that I still want to do the race, but if they say no, then we know that it's no. But if they say yes, then it's like, oh, well, now we have the option. Do we really want to go do
Courtney
it?
was excited about seeing us.
How do you, when you have people that you've met and have done stuff for you and are excited that you're coming, how do you turn that down? We had already signed up for Storm the Fort, so we knew we were doing that race. And we were like, all right, I guess we're doing Maine too.
Oh man, I was so not excited because I knew we were sleeping in a car. We always sleep in a car in doubles.
Yep.
And it's terrible every time. But
Yeah.
so I had the whole
Wasn't
week
any better
to
this
just
time either.
not be excited about that. So yes, that's the story of how this double came to be.
At 4 p.m. on Monday, we had 0 races. At 8 p.m. on Monday, we had 2 and flights booked
Doing a
and
double.
entries paid and
Yeah, so this is
rental cars.
COVID
made.
stuff is still going on, and so Delta lets us change flights late.
Yeah. All we had to do, we could go on Delta's website and actually just change the flight from California to Boston.
Instead of going to Sacramento, California, I need to go to Knoxville, Tennessee, and Boston, and then come home. But it's basically the same thing. So
They do make that super easy.
It was really clean and easy.
And it's
wasn't-
not free.
It was what I was about to say. It's not free, but once again, my cost per race was still reasonable. It really wasn't that much.
when you don't pay a hotel Saturday night, when your hotel's the rental car.
That helps.
So we have all week to kind of prepare for a third double, which makes 7 for August, which we believe is also a world record. So we're certainly going to submit that once we get all our paperwork. If you look at it, I believe that 10 is possible in a calendar month. If you do a Saturday, Sunday on a month that has 5 weekends, then I think it's possible that you could do 10 to 7. We believe that nobody's ever done 7 in a month before.
It has to be.
I hands down.
we were talking about this.
These
world,
are actual races. I'm not talking about doing a distance at your house or a, you know, doing this is going to seven different USAT sanctioned races. And we were all four. We were in all four corners of the country. We did Seattle, we did Arizona, we did Tennessee twice, we did Grand Rapids, so we got the middle, and we got Maine, man.
Yeah, New England.
We even got Colorado in there. I mean, so you got two in the middle and the four corners, and then two in the southeast. So, I mean, there's your 7.
Yeah.
So, we're in the mood to set multiple world
records. Well, you know, cost per world record goes down as you add world records to them. So really, it's far more affordable. Oh man! So we come up to. I fly into Knoxville.
Yeah.
Hey man, what happened? I gotta know. You just get off late?
Yeah, I wasn't in a hurry.
So I tell him I'm gonna fly in at 1. I get a text as I land in Atlanta, connection to Knoxville. Hey, I'm gonna be late. Okay, no big deal. Whatever. I land in Knoxville. How late is late?
Man, it's like 4.5 hours from my house to Knoxville. I drove this, man.
I don't think you actually left the house until I started flying to Knoxville. I was already in Atlanta before you were in Atlanta.
That's probably true. When I texted you, we were actually on the road. Charlotte rode with us and did the first race, and then took the car back home. But yeah. I mean, you said I've got plenty of work to do.
I did. I sat there. I wasn't really. It was.
I mean, I wasn't dilly dallying. I had stuff to do, and I don't remember. I have no idea what it was, but I was doing it. Whatever it was, it must have been important because I was doing something.
Jennifer called it study hall. It was actually really nice. It's, you know, I was alone in an airport and getting work done on their Wi-Fi. So yeah, it was great.
All right, so we drove up, and I'm trying to think if it was an eventful drive, and I can't remember anything. So anyway, we go get to Knoxville, pick up Sam at the Knoxville airport, head. Do we go straight to the race? We can't check into the race.
Oh.
No, we can't. We can check into the race, but we can't leave our bikes.
Yes.
So my bike's already put together because it's on the back of the car. Sam's bike's in the car, not put together, but no reason to put it together because we couldn't leave it at the race.
Yes.
So we're like the very first, we're there before check-in starts, because it was at the fort, right? This stormed the fort.
Yes,
so we explored the fort.
Yeah, check out the fort.
Yeah, got some pictures in the gallows, kind of hands hanging out. It was really neat. Cool
this is a recreated, I guess Indian Wars would probably be the proper time period, fort. So it is, you know, built on the foundations or the, you know, actual, like, where these structures were. I mean,
not the original wood.
It couldn't be the original wood, but using the original building techniques.
Probably using the original stone, because that stuff. That's probably just, I don't know. It looked like it could have been.
Yeah. So there was a cooking facility in the middle of it, and it said, "This has nothing to do with the fort. This was just for our volunteers. And if
it makes it easier for them to cook.
If we build something else, this is getting moved." Yeah. So yeah, somebody was being painstaking, and as far as their exploration and stuff. So it was a neat, like field trip site.
Free. I mean, you go walk through all this stuff for free. I mean, it wasn't. And it was kind of surrounded several buildings in a circle, and they had the blacksmith shop set up, and anyway, it was cool.
That was really neat.
Check in.
First check in.
And you're number 50. I'm number 56. You're number 57.
Reverse that.
Okay, you're number 56. I'm number 57. And the guy was like, "Yeah, we had." Okay, no, he didn't tell us. It's another thing. We 56, 57. Okay, well, we got low numbers. No big deal. The guy's talking about they're having trouble getting volunteers. Some of the volunteers have quit because of COVID. They modified the run course so that you're doing more loops on the run course, but you pass the aid stations more because it's going to be hot. Turned out that it was the hottest that it had ever been for that race, which, lucky us. But we asked about the race director, and he was like, yeah, he's off somewhere fixing up something, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went and found him.
Yeah.
He was down in transition, setting up transition, and we got talking to him, and he was like, yeah, 57 people have signed up for this race. And we're like, oh, I guess that's how they assigned the numbers.
They clearly assigned their spots based off of
who signed up when. And so 57 was the last person to have signed up. So anyway, it's gonna be a small half. The Olympic, I think, had more people, but I mean, still there were probably 150 people there total.
Yeah.
At the most.
Yeah, max.
And interestingly, of the 57 people, he said that he thought that 40 something would race, 40 or less than 45 would race, and 6 people. How many were from Jacksonville?
That's a good question. 6 plus I saw one of the Olympic people had a stellar uniform on. Okay.
So seven people. It's like almost 20% of the field was the stellar triathlon group from Jacksonville.
Coming strong, man.
Yeah. So
I saw no Tri-Coast Georgia people there. I'm not saying.
You saw one.
Yeah, there was one.
Yeah, I had the Tri-Coast Georgia uniform on.
So, you got to step up the game there, Tri-Coach.
Yeah, got to get. I know, because my people are closer.
That's what I'm saying.
Georgia like touches Tennessee. Yeah. All right. Anyway, talked to the race director. Got a picture with him. He was really concerned about volunteers and stuff. So Charlotte even offered to volunteer. Ended up that she didn't have to. So I guess he got it figured out.
Okay.
But. Going to be a small race. We were staying in a hotel. That's right. We went and checked in the hotel.
Yeah.
Which was not within sight of transition, but it was. We could have walked it if we had to.
The closest hotel we've had to a race
ever
this year. Maybe not quite ever, but yeah.
And it was cheap.
Oh man! So
it wasn't a bad hotel, but
I made a joke. Billy has 2 standards. I guess there's a third standard. If Jennifer books the race, then we're in a top tier.
I mean, look at the hotel we're in now. Yeah.
Then
that's not a Billy standard.
The Charlotte, Sydney, Megan tier. Then there's Then there's the Billy and Sam tier, and I'm actually coming out of the frame on purpose. That's how low it is. Then there's the double race tier because we're sleeping in the car. So that is actually the bottom. So we know where we are on the tiers of hotels. So Charlotte was there. It was a great hotel. But it was $50-something a night.
Yeah, like $58 a night.
So what was that, Super 8 or?
It was Super 8, but to tell you how cheap we were, we knew we were going to have a shower after the race, and we knew there was a truck stop. So I asked the hotel, I was like, hey, can I get late checkout? And they asked me, what time do you check out? So around 4 o'clock. It turns out we could have checked out at 3, but that didn't seem to matter. They were like, yeah, no, we can't do that unless you pay for an extra night. I'm like, that's not worth an extra night for me because I'll go take a shower in the truck stop shower because it's cheaper.
We had that talk on Monday because you were looking at hotels for Storm the Fort, and you were like, man, we just need to book this for a shower for a second night because it's only $50. Yes, but 2 of us for the showers, only $26.
I guess that includes tax too because it's
$13
a piece.
Yeah, so that's what we've discovered. No matter where you are, it's $13. That's the truck stop shower fee.
All right, so so stay in the hotel. We do the race. Stories about the race. I mean, it was a small field. I still suck on the swim. The swim itself had like weeds and stuff, so you kind of got caught up in that. The swim itself, I'm swimming. I come. It's 2 loops, and I come around for the second loop, and I see the buoy, and so it's like a rectangle, and I see the buoy that I need to get to, and it's bright yellow, lit up by the sun, and I'm just swimming, and a kayak comes over, and I'm like, why is this kayak getting in my way? And then I look up, and the buoy that I'm swimming at, that's all nice and lit up, is not the one I'm supposed to be swimming at. The one that I'm supposed to be swimming at is over here, and it's in the shade. It's harder to see. It wasn't hard to see. It was harder to see. And I was like, look at the kayaker. I was like, oh, I guess I'm going the wrong way. So I had to go back this way and go around. So anyway, so I'm super slow on the swim coming out, which, I mean, it wasn't super slow, but slow enough. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to pass 20 people in this race. 20 people on the bike, I can do that. No problem.
We're number 56 and 57.
Yeah, that was aggressive.
Review. And he said prior to the race start that 7 people had already dropped out. So we know that there cannot be more than 50 people racing. 20 people, got it.
I guess that was aggressive. Because I passed 5. That was it. No more. And there were long stretches of, we hoped we were on the right road. I ended up riding with, did I ride with you the whole time?
Yeah, you riding with me a long, long time.
Yeah.
So
So anyways, I rode
with
with you the whole time. So, and we actually ended up with a group of, there were like 3 or 4 of us right there together, weren't we? Yeah, so that was kind of nice, because if we were going to be lost, 10% of the field was going to be lost altogether. Come in off the bike, get on the run, and I mean, it's scorching. But they do have a lot of aid stations. And we were told, I'm not going to name names, but we were told as I'm going around, so in the beginning in the athlete briefing, they said you go around the big hill twice, the big hill up near the fort. And so that's something to look forward to, right? Especially when it's so hot. We were told, oh, you don't have to go up the big hill to the fort. That's only at the finish. Oh, yes. They go to the big hill to the fort. Only to the finish. So you go around the first loop and the end, or I don't know, 3/4 of the way through the first loop, you go around the fort. Around to the fort included some switchbacks. And you only have switchbacks when you're going up a really steep hill. And so said person who told us that you didn't have to go up to the fort was not technically lying, because the fort was actually on top of the hill, which was a little bit higher than the big old hill that you had to go, but not that much further. So that was pretty disappointing because we had to do that twice. So that was tough. You got anything else to say about that?
I got some notes. I was kind of.
Yeah, I can see, man. You got it in your eyes.
I'd let you go over every possible good thing that you can come out of this race, because I'm going to eviscerate
it. You got to admit, there were plenty of aid stations.
There were plenty of aid stations.
It was hot. You can't. And most of the course was flat along the lake. It was just this one area.
The part of the course around the lake was flat.
Okay.
We'll come back to that too.
That was it, man. I finished. I was trying to. I mean, I ended up going relatively fast, I guess, compared to the rest of my age group, because I got a little Cannon trophy out of the deal. But I was not fast. It's like 6:15 or something, which is a kind of a slow race for me. But it was hot.
There was
All right, go ahead, tear it out. What do we go ahead and start. The first thing you're gonna say is about the weeds.
Let me start. Generally, the race director has to deal with the course or the area that they have. Okay. Right? You've got those constraints.
Yeah.
This is the first race that I feel like the race director has squandered a really, really cool opportunity. This is an incredibly difficult job, and so I don't want to undermine that he pulled off a race during COVID. Let me start there. I respect that. Now,
are you still angry about this race, man?
I'm super angry about this race, and I'm about to let it all out. So, we begin the swim, shall we? So, coming in, it's a 2-loop. This was the worst swim I've ever had. I've swam in Lake Pontchartrain, after a heavy rain they canceled that race. They don't even do that race anymore because the swim was that disgusting. I hit a lady I couldn't see. This was worse. We have swam literally in Diesel's pond behind his house. That's not a pond. That is to catch all of the drainage from the backs of houses. Less disgusting than this swim. So you came out on the swim. Somewhere in there, you hit a Diesel patch. I don't know if you were ever caught that little whiff.
I smelled it.
Good.
I thought it was one of the boats. Was it not one of the boats?
No, I don't know. There was some kind of diesel leak or something there. Yeah, it was. So it's downfield from Marina. You're in the Tennessee River. Along the swim course, there was a stick sticking out of the swim course. Once again, could have just taken a saw to it underwater. I get it, stuff falls in, but an ounce worth of prevention. So stick in the water that you can't see. Number one. Number two, you go through the Diesel whatnot, and you turn that corner, and I called it the Enchanted Forest, but that's not really fair. That's a bit generous because enchanted sounds happy, and this was the worst weeds I've ever had. The weeds were out of the water, and we were in deep water. Now, you say, well, we can't really control these things. Yes, you can. You could have moved the course slightly to the left and avoided all of this with just this much preparation. Swim it. Hey, this is a problem. Shifted it this way. No problem. Literally, on the way back, you're fine. So all they had to do was shift that a little further in the river, and they could have easily solved the problem.
I'm with you. It looked like there was plenty of room to be able to move the course because the course wasn't that wide.
No,
it was 25 yards. Maybe 50 yards at the most wide. So you could have just moved it 50 yards, and you would have been golden.
So we got out of the swim. Yep. Hard part's over. There's always a bad side of any race. We get out on the bike. Most of the bike course, I don't really have much to complain about. You're in Tennessee, and so you have hills, and we knew that.
And the roads for most of the bike course are pretty decent. There was that 1 8-mile section.
Well, that's what we're about to get to.
Okay.
So once again, we have taken off points for U-turns on the bike because they're pretty terrible. And in this case, I don't know what U-turn I would have preferred, but any one of them. So
you gotta give me credit. There were no U-turns.
Yeah. Yes, there was no U-turns. There should have been. There absolutely. Excuse me. That was awful. There should have been. Please think through the course. 10 seconds of thinking. Hey, man, this is a little wobbly in our car. Yeah, man. They went and found. So I call this. I wouldn't call it a balloon because it wasn't that big. This was like a string and a doorknob. Whatever that thing was. It was a weird
kind
shape.
of curly cue the way it
a string and a cyclone of death. But you got onto these back roads which had some unnecessarily steep hills, and the asphalt was terrible. This race, there were 2 police officers on the bike course. There were 4 cops at transition, and I don't actually know why they had those. But this was the least policed course of any race we've ever done.
So in transition, the reason they were there is because you had to turn left across traffic to get back into transition.
Yeah, but you just needed 2 cops, not 4. I don't know why. Yes.
So you understood what the cops were there. You shouldn't understand why there were
why there were 4 of them. So that once you figured out that line circle on the middle of the road meant that you were still on the race course, there was some good happy feelings. But it's not like they discussed that. Like, hey, look for the line and circle out there.
He did say orange. Aren't you glad you aren't swimming? Orange was for the bike course.
Yeah, random graffiti on the road. You see orange, you're good. Sure, this is a great plan. Please excuse me. Probably that Diesel is actually still down in the.
You probably just gave me COVID.
In fact, I can actually prove that I didn't. We got a COVID test this week. and came back negative. So, so we came back, finish our gravel bike, get back in, and there's a run. Once again, it's Tennessee. You're along a lake, but let me describe this run and make sure that I'm fair. You come out of transition. There's a nice little, of course, little undulation, but sidewalk until you get to the boat ramp. Once you hit that boat ramp, where people were actively bringing their boats in and out in the middle of a race course,
They were. That is true. Some of them were courteous. One guy pulled his boat back out and said, "Come on through." But did you figure out that if you went around them, it actually made the course shorter?
or you went out and down. How did you make it shorter?
So let's say there's somebody backing their boat in.
Yeah.
If you just went in front of the vehicle, it cut off the kind of little curve. It actually made the course shorter.
Because, well, see, you're cutting it back there, man. I was trying to stay true to the course.
I got you.
Let's.
I'm just saying, man.
Apparently now we know how you get third in your age group. Is what I'm saying over here.
They made it that much shorter.
He shaved 30 minutes off his time, I swear. So, get past the boat ramp of Frogger boat ramp that we were doing. Then you went onto the minefield with what one guy described as more goose poop than he's seen in his entire life.
He hadn't been around very many geese before.
Good night. A hose.
That was probably from that day, man.
Dude, that was 6 weeks worth of goose poop. They've never cleaned that thing in their life. And then, of course, it's angled. And not a fun angle, an annoying angle. So then you go down this impossible hill and then back up this impossible hill, which wasn't very long. It couldn't have been maybe 30 foot long, but it was just, once again, frustrating. And then you went out to this turnaround and did it all again. So you come back. I don't like unnecessary hills. I find there's just no need to add unnecessary difficulty to a race course. And Storm the Fort is the name of the triathlon, and so I think there's something there that you could have done that was really neat. What they had you do instead was come around and back and do all of this unnecessary hill work where you could have just come around the base of the fort instead of doing all that extra climbing. No, some sadistic guy came up with this switchbacks. You're running on the wrong side of a track for 2 minutes, and then come more climbing, and then you don't do anything with it. You then just go back down. So very frustrating. But I think the issue, where I'm really most deeply upset, we're 56 and 57, and we sign up late. How was your race meal?
Mine was nice and large.
So I crossed the finish line. Sorry, I could at least fold it out. And I received this race medal, which would be a fine race medal if it wasn't the sprint.
Does it say sprint on it?
It does not, because he didn't even put that much effort into it. Once again, race director there's not a date. It's not like these things go bad. They sit in a box. You use them again next year. I've got no issue with that. We've not complained.
Maybe they just gave me the big one by mistake.
No. Everybody who did the half got the big one. Except if you didn't finish in less than 6 hours and 15 minutes or more, took longer than that, then you got the little one. So, tiny race medal, didn't order enough race medals. That's a race director problem.
That is not a tiny race medal. If you look at, this is the Ironman and this is the Storm the Fort. Similar weight. I mean, you didn't get the big one. You like the spinning.
They added that, which counteracts the size of it. I'm not complaining about this. If this was everybody's race medal, I would be fine with it. Where I'm upset is that you ran out of medals. And we've had that happen before. So, Door County in Wisconsin sent us, got a special medal for us to have at the finish line, and sent us physically mailed us the medal when they came in because they were late shipping it. That is customer service that I can respect and then be impressed by. This is not, and it's just crap. It's very disappointing.
So what I hear you saying,
yeah,
is you're ready to go ahead and sign up for next year.
I want to buy the race and fix it. I think we could actually. This could be a great race. Yeah, we just got to. There's so much opportunity to do that. You already did an out and back with a U-turn, so you could have adjusted that course easily to only storm the fort at the end. That part of it was cool. You came the very last part of it. You come up. There was a cannon that went off somewhere in there. Did you hear that?
That was the first guy to finish. They did it twice. For the
First guy,
Olympic or sprint or whatever, the person who won that got the cannon, and then the person who won the half got the cannon.
Yeah.
The reason I know that is because the dude passed me while I'm still on my first of 3 loops, and went on by, and he went up there, and I heard the big cannon going. I'm like, oh, dude just won.
I was on the backside and pretty sure that Al Qaeda had invaded, but everybody that was around me kept on going. So I was like, okay, I guess we're okay. The first thing I do is duck. So once again, seems like something the race director could have mentioned. Hey, by the way, we're going to be shooting cannon, which is really cool. Just would like to know. So, not impressed.
Okay.
Could be a great race. I want to emphasize that everybody's recovering from COVID, not having a year off, and signups are down. This was below their normal levels of attendance, and so you have to figure that the police cost the same. Permits don't change. All of the structured costs for this are the same. Those medals are a solid $2.75, so could break in the bank not ordering enough of those. But their big thing is the finisher trophies for the top 3. So 1, 2, and 3 for the men and women get cannonballs.
Overall, not the age groupers.
The age groupers, and we've got a picture of the cannon, is really cool. The age grouper, the theme of this thing is great. There's a real opportunity here. But he only handed out 1 cannonball. So overall male and overall female, and then you're done. I mean, I know that thing's not cheap, but it's not that expensive. So I'm not impressed. This is the time to shine, and we have seen races shine out of all of the problems that they had, and this just felt like a corpse to me.
All right, we got to get on happier thoughts here, man. Everybody watching this is now depressed.
Yeah, and I just single-handedly killed the Storm before. It's a good race. It could be a great race. It is a good race that could be a great race. He made me mad, but that's...
How made you mad?
No, sorry, the race.
Race, right. Okay.
So, yeah, no, this guy! No, man, now that I know you cheat, apparently I gotta watch you.
So, we put the bikes together. We're able to drive back to transition and kind of park near transition and put the bikes together there in the shade, so that was actually kind of nice. Hop in the car, go find our truck stop shower, head to the airport, and I actually got to the airport in plenty of time. Yeah. Probably earlier than we thought that we would be there, and weren't even really pushing it. I mean, we kind of hung out at the race afterwards for a little bit because it was hot and we were trying to cool off and get some fluids and stuff in us. Hop on the flight. Can you think of any stories from driving or the flight or anything?
So this was the flight we flew to Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Time for a nap, I suppose.
Yeah, we're still recovering from not having enough sleep, and as it turns out, you don't get any more when you're trying to do stuff. No, man, that's not true. I got to sit. I was in the front row of the plane. What you would normally have as first class was Comfort Plus in a very small airplane. But got to talk to the flight attendant.
I'm surprised they didn't just let you fly the plane, man. You're already up there at the very front. I'm all the way back in the back. I was so happy I got me an exit row. Well, an exit row on a CRJ or CJR, whatever
Canada,
they are,
Canada regional,
it is exactly 1 inch bigger. Because you can see in the little overhead thing the little partitions that they put up, and you can see the everybody else has 2 of those, and the exit row has 3. So it's exactly 1 inch larger than the rest of it. But Frank's up. Sam's up there, flying the plane from his seat.
It's just part of that's true. The plane's so small that the front seat is the co-pilot seat, so you got responsibility. So it was fine.
So anyway, that was.
So yeah, we get to
Detroit, and he's over there. He's looking at me like, "Let's go." And I'm like, "Dude, we're here an hour. We've got an hour." And he's like, "Man, they're boarding in 15 minutes." And I was like, "What? 15 minutes, dude? We're going to the lounge. We don't have time for this."
I'm trying to figure out why in the world he is just not in a hurry. I was like, our nutritional plan was eating at this airport, and we were boarding in 15 minutes, and we were getting off of this plane, which arrived early. So, shocked if it would have been late. But yeah, went to the lounge, and they had pasta at the lounge, and that was just perfect, man. We loaded up.
It was good pasta.
Grabbed everything we could, and headed for the next plane.
Yeah, got on the plane, headed to Boston. You talked a lot to the guy next to you, but I don't remember. Did you sleep any?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I slept any either, which was kind of a bummer. But get to the Boston airport. Getting the luggage was relatively easy. Getting the rental car was relatively easy, but it was a shuttle, and it was a process. And so we leave Boston after midnight.
Yeah, in my mind, that process is always faster. I never calculate. Hey, the plane is going to land at 11 o'clock. It's perfect, man. We'll have our bags in 10 minutes. We'll have the car in 15, and we'll be on our way to the race. And it's just when you have a shuttle like that, and of course, Logan. So yeah, it's just an hour. It just is.
So we're driving down the road, and since you can't take fluids with you on the plane, we need to stop and get some nutrition for the race. And we're just driving, and I see a Walmart on the side. I was like, "Oh, there's Walmart. Let's just stop there." And we had already passed the entrance to Walmart, so I pulled into the next little entrance, and there was no connection to Walmart. Like, you couldn't get from that place to Walmart. We're like, all right, well, let's come back around. As we're exiting, it's a divided highway with this like median and concrete wall. You can't turn left to get back to Walmart. No. So you'd have to go up and make a U-turn, come back down, make a U-turn to be able to get back to Walmart. And Sam's like, "Man, we still got like an hour and 15 or hour and 20 minutes. We're going to pass like 12 Walmarts in between here." And
so I've looked on the Google and searched Walmarts along our path, and there's a bunch. So we continue on past the Walmart.
Never passed another Walmart.
We didn't, actually. They were off the road. We could have gotten to them, but they were all closed. As it turns out, New England closes at 10 p.m. I don't know what happens, but apparently it's reverse vampires, because at 10 p.m. everybody goes home. Walmart's out. Walgreens, nope. CVS, nope. Any grocery store, any 24-hour,
gonna be a convenience store.
7-Eleven.
All right, so we find a 7-Eleven. Go in, and usually we eat Lucky Charms is our kind of our pre-race breakfast meal or whatever. But last time we had Pop-Tarts, and So I mean, convenience store, they actually have Pop-Tarts. So we got some Pop-Tarts.
They also had Bisquick.
I guess we could have made our own pancakes.
In our tired state, I think it's hilarious. I'm imagining myself over some sort of
campfire
engine or something heating up pancakes.
So anyway, we get our stuff, and start heading out, and the guy's like, "Hey, y'all want some free chicken wings?" I mean, it's like 1:30 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's late. I mean, I'm a Crozier. We don't turn down free stuff.
He said the word free. Literally, I could walk out to somebody's house. Hey, man, I got this garbage here. Do you want to take it for free? Yes, I do, actually.
I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. I'm pretty sure the food was old and he was
literally getting thrown away.
Yeah, he was fixing to throw it away. So anyway, he felt good about giving it to us. We took it, stuck it in the car, and we're like, we're going to eat that later. And I did try it after the race, so I've been a good, I don't know, it's a little while.
It's like 10 hours
10
later.
hours later or whatever. But anyway, so we got some free chicken wings from the 7-Eleven.
I was not about to have indigestion. We don't even eat pepperoni pizza before the races, so there's nothing spicy in there for race day.
So we get to Old Orchard Beach. Never been there before, so the directions just had us going straight to transition, just so that usually let's see if we can find some place right around transition to park. So we get to transition, and there's great big no parking signs, and there's no like street parking or anything. I mean, which turns out that's the finish line shoot right there.
Yeah,
so of course we did.
That's why there was no street sign. There was no street parking.
So we kind of make a circle. I mean, we see some like pay spots or whatever, and we kind of make a circle. Did we end up going two circles? I don't know. Whatever we did, we come back around. We hadn't really found anything, and there's this pay lot. I mean, it says it has bathrooms and showers, and we're like, well, whatever. I mean, there's nobody there. It was dark. There were some lights on one end, and then it was kind of dark in a corner, so we went and parked the car in the dark corner so that we could go to sleep. We had to. So this is between 1:30 and 2. It might have been.
Yeah, somewhere along this journey is when we figure out that the race starts at 5:45.
Yeah, they told us to meet them at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we're looking at the email.
And we're like, well, man, they want us to get there so nobody sees us checking in late. No, that was when transition opened, was at 4 o'clock.
Because it closed at 5:30.
Yeah, so we ended up, we parked probably around, and had everything ready to go by around 2, I guess, and we set our alarm for 3:30. You were snoring, man, so I think you got good sleep. I did not get very good sleep. It wasn't because you were snoring. I just couldn't get comfortable or whatever. I think I got about an hour, and then I woke up. And when I woke up, there's stuff going by. So of course, if there's stuff going by, then you want to check it out. And one of them was like the truck with the
MRAP?
with the barriers, like the little white fencing or whatever. Then the Army's coming. There's a couple of small vehicles or whatever, and you're like, okay. Then the MRAP, and I mean an MRAP is like a Humvee on steroids. I mean, it's this big military, massive truck, with the great big turret on top with the gun that spins around and takes out all the bad guys. And I'm like, what? They got MRAP.
Is there a crime problem?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Sam's over there still sleeping, and so when he wakes up, I was like, "Hey man, they got MRAP here." He's like, "Oh really?" I think he thought I was kidding or dreaming or something. I don't know. But anyway, we get up about 3:30 and start putting our bikes together. We get our bikes together and ride them down to transition to.
So while we're putting them together, dude comes over. So we're parked in George's lot where it says. Any no overnight parking, and it was something about
if you're parked here when we open, you pay the posted rate. Well, there was no posted rate. We had no idea how much it was going to be.
What this is going to cost?
Yeah, so George comes over and he's like, "Hey, y'all sure you're in the right lot?" We're like, "If you take cash, we are."
That was the response. Because as soon as he said that, I was like, "Oh crap, this thing's oversold and we're screwed."
Yeah, I mean, he well, first of all, he cut on the lights for us, so we're out there putting our bikes together, kind of in the dark. It wasn't pitch black dark, but it was kind of dark. And he cuts on the light for us, and lit it up like it was a stadium, and we were like, "Oh wow, that sure was nice of him."
This guy.
And comes over, "You sure you're in the right lot?"
Yeah.
Anyway, he took $20 from us, and he said something about prepaying, and we were like, "No, no, we hadn't done that. And so I think that's when we were figuring maybe it was oversold or something.
Yeah.
He took our money and
$20 and made it happen. It disappeared. So
yeah.
that was awesome. Thanks, George.
Yeah, man. And it was a good lot.
That was great.
Good location. So we rode our bikes down. We hadn't we had dressed, but we hadn't gotten everything ready. But transition was we needed to be there by 4, and we didn't want to make them mad. So we rode our bikes down there to pick up our stuff, and they had it ready for us. They knew who we were right when we were walking up, which not because of who we are, but because
nobody else.
There was nobody else doing it. They had 2 packets there with all of our stuff, and it was just us.
Yeah.
They didn't make us do the regular signing all the paperwork stuff. I mean, there wasn't anything really different about all of that. They just had it ready just for us, so that was nice. Rode our bikes back to the parking lot, got the rest of our stuff ready, and then went and set up transition. And I think we set up transition and pretty fast. We gotten pretty good at this. We know exactly how we want it laid out. I mean, I don't, is there any stories? I mean, we got to meet the people around us. We weren't really hanging out in transition all that long because we had to, it was a kind of a walk to get to the swim start, and you had to do it barefoot. I mean, I guess you could have done it if you wanted to leave your shoes there. But it was kind of nippy, which was nice. I mean, we didn't have to leave the car running for air conditioning or anything, and then
it was cold. When
you're you have your tri-suit on and you're walking, we've gone ahead and put our wetsuit on to walk to the swim start, and we wanted to get in the water because it was cold. We wanted to see what it felt like. I mean, because if you get in the water and you don't know what it feels like, sometimes it takes your breath away and it takes you a little bit to recover. So we actually got to get in the water and swim for a little bit, and I mean, we stayed on the swim line, and it was. I don't know. You got any stories for all of that?
I did far less talking. I don't know why I was sleepy and cranky. Weird. Less talking than normal. But I did have one of the neighbors who were going over the story. He was like, "Man, I bet you know a lot. What's the most important thing you've learned so far?" That's a really good question. You have a most important thing you've learned so far? I'll give you my
proper nutrition. On the proper nutrition during the race. I still haven't learned what the proper nutrition before and after the race is, but during the race I've got that down to a pretty good science.
As it turns out, I don't know, Pop-Tarts might need to replace Lucky Charms as you got a PR.
Yeah, I'm not sure that
was a Pop-Tart thing. My answer was...
If Pop-Tart wants to send us a case of Pop-Tarts, we'll sure eat them.
It will not be a problem. My answer was, don't pee in the wetsuit before they've declared it legal.
Before they've declared the swim legal. So what he's saying is if they cancel the swim, well, now you've got a peed-in wetsuit that you can't clean out. Because you're not cleaning out.
It's just brewing in there all day. I think that's the most important lesson I've learned thus far.
I mean, a joke is always the best lesson. It makes people laugh, and they'll probably remember that too. So. Yeah.
Oh, but it speaks to preparation is really what the actual answer is. So yes, just being prepared for the race.
Well, I don't know that we're prepared for any of these. I don't know if I'm prepared for any of the races. I know that we just have to get out there and do them.
Yeah. Do you finish every one?
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about that in the very beginning. In our very first video, we talked about were we athletic enough, strong enough, whatever, to complete these races, and the answer to that was, we have no idea, but we were definitely hard-headed enough not to quit. I mean, that was, and I think that's where we're at.
That's still the answer.
Is you're just hard-headed enough not to quit. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much sums up what it is that we're doing.
Wow.
So on the swim, I mean, we started in the exact right spot as far as guessing our time. We started at the back of the 40 to 43, and I did it in 43 minutes, which was
correct. We started in exactly the right spot based off time. The people, and I think it happened somewhere around 40, was what I've discovered. The 40-minute people misallocate or misappropriate where they are, or may be the margin is smaller. Hey man, I think I can do this in 35 minutes, and I'm really 37, and so you don't really notice that. and so you're call that 10% off. But when you're 10% off on a 40-minute swim, it's bigger. So like the longer the time, that 10% maybe. But yeah, and so after the swim, we're talking about it because we're both in transition together, and the lady was like, one lady, well, you do what you got to do. And so, of course, my response is, what you got to do is start at the back. You have an hour and 10 minutes from the last swimmer. And so, if this is Ironman, Ironman to me is a race. Versus the locals are a lot more participation based. So for Ironman, many of the people, at least 50, 40, at least 40 are going to the World Championships, and probably 500 or 600 think that they could go to the World Championships. And then there's probably us that are in the back. There's a few deluded in the back that hope that we could go to the World Championships.
If everybody else doesn't remember who claimed their spot.
And so it's a more intense atmosphere with Ironman than a local race. So that's the way that I mean it. But with Ironman, if you don't finish the swim in an hour and 10 minutes, you're already DQ'd. You're done. And so I guess maybe what some of these people are doing, if you're that close, is starting early, finishing the race so that you get the medal. So you're a DNF officially, but you've crossed the finish line.
They don't pull you out of the race.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's frustrating.
So what happened, and the reason why I know we weren't in the right spot was because as soon as I get out there, there's a whole bunch of people breaststroking, and I attribute that to they got into the water and it was colder than they expected, and so now they're just trying to catch their breath to be able to. And I mean we've seen that before, and I'm good with that. I understand that, but you got to get way on the outside. I'm sitting here having to weave through. I don't pass people on the swim. No. I always get past. I never pass people on the swim.
You're getting better on the swim.
But I'm weaving in and out of people like I'm a pro swimmer or something, because I'm like, what are you? I mean, they're standing still. What are you doing? So I get on, and what Sam was complaining about, he was like, the slow people don't bother me. It's the people who are doing the backstroke that bother me. And so occasionally you'll see somebody doing a backstroke because I guess they feel like they can breathe better by having their entire face out of the water the whole time, and so they'll backstroke. I don't know if you've ever seen people backstroke in open water, but it is not a straight line, man.
No, there's not flags or ceiling tiles.
You're all over the course when you're backstroking. And
and you can't see because you're looking up.
Right, yeah. And so you just hit people, and then you get in their way, and it's just an awful. The backstroking should not be allowed, I think, in an Ironman race. But it is. And I get to a guy that's backstroking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here's what Sam's talking about. Well, let me go ahead and get around this guy so he doesn't hit me. Let me go ahead and get around this guy so he doesn't hit me. Let me go ahead and get around this guy so he don't hit me. That dude was backstroking at my swim pace in a straighter line than I've ever swam in my life. And I'm going to tell you, I never passed him. I never passed the backstroker. He beat me to the very end. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
he could swim. I mean, he was just going straight as an arrow. I don't know what the deal. Anyway, so
sometimes there's talent, and there are some new glasses out there. I don't know if it, excuse me, I'm still a little just cold. COVID.
It gave it to me again.
Not COVID. And I can prove it. Before the end of this, I'm gonna have to show my COVID card or my whatever test. This is the very, very first time in almost 100 triathlons that I've done that I've ever been hit on the left ear by a man that was on my right. That's a first.
He's just giving you a hug. It was a, hey, bro, what's up?
What? What? Man, that took me like 5 minutes to try to figure out what in the world just happened.
That was like in...
I don't know what his stroke must have been to... Yeah.
In Des Moines, where somebody stuck their finger up my nose. I mean, think about how hard that would be to do.
That is talent.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Oh man, yeah. There was some bumping out there. That was for, as an ocean swimming, you're both on the right side. You're all on the right side of the buoys because they're worried about the current going down. So they squeezed them in. There wasn't, what was this? Maybe 1,100 people.
I don't even know. No, I think it was more than that, wasn't it? I saw numbers higher than that.
Okay, there was some relays in there, and they changed numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was not a massive race. And so the swim was a bit crowded considering how many people there were there.
So get out of the swim. Now, mind you, we're standing in line for the swim, and this race starts earlier than normal for us.
Yeah.
So our bodies are used to a certain routine. And we're standing there in the swim line, and I'm like, I'm going to have to hit the porta potty when I get out of the swim.
I couldn't trust a single fart the entire swim. Is that because you're in a wetsuit? I don't know how that works out, and there's no real way to wash that out at the end of this thing because I'm stuck in that singlet all day or that tri-suit all day.
So we get. I mean, mind you, we've done the race. I mean, the race the day before. So we just wanted to finish this race.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. That's all. That's our only goal is to finish the race.
Yeah.
So I finished the swim, and I kind of jog. Some people were running a lot of people were walking. I passed a fair number of people, but between the swim and the transition was like a quarter of a mile or maybe even more than that. So I kind of jog it. I take my time in the shower. So they had these like big showers, and the showers were not. They had lots of water coming out of the showers this time, which was
really
fine.
nice.
So I was able to kind of wash off or whatever. I go to the porta potty, and I hang out in there for a little while. My transition time was 9 minutes, so almost 10 minutes for transition. And mind you, I mean, a normal transition on an Ironman race is 3 minutes maybe. For a local race, you can probably get it down to like a minute and a half or maybe even 2 minutes. But for Ironman, you have a little bit longer to go in transition. So we'll say 3 minutes. And this was almost 10 minutes for me. I was taking my time. I was taking my time. I was in no hurry to finish my transition. Hop out, and this is important. We'll talk about it later. But hop out on the bike. I can't think of any stories in transition. Now, did I even see you in transition?
Yeah, we talked. It was memorable for one of us.
What did we talk about? Because it took me a while to catch you.
I did the same. I had the exact same poop. Man, it was amazing. Oh yeah, that was So by the time that we got out of the swim was our normal poop time.
All right. Anyway.
So yeah, and talk to the lady who was upset.
Yeah, we leave. Oh, that's right. Because we were talking about. So anyway, we Hey, Sam leaves before me. I hop on the bike, and I'm just cruising along, and I'm feeling good. I mean, the weather's nice, and it's not it's kind of chilly, so it's good to work up a little bit of a warm sweat, I guess, on the bike, and so we're going. But it takes me remember the last race I passed 5 people, right?
Yeah.
This race, I passed 5 people at the mount line. I get out of the bike, and as I'm mounting my bike to go, to start or whatever, I pass 5 people right there.
Yeah, here's a pro tip. When there's a mountain line and there's an Ironman level race, an Ironman number of people, go ahead and run past it just a little bit. A lot of inclination from newer racers is you see a line, you cross the line, you stop, you get on your bike. And sometimes that, for a newer racer takes 30, 40 seconds. And so then the people behind you are all blocked. So, so just go ahead, pass that line, get, I like to go to the side near a rail, then jump on your bike and go. So a few extra steps, and that will save you a minute off your time. Boom, you're welcome, I just saved you a minute.
Then I passed another 5 people in the first curve. Nobody likes to take those curves fast. And
no.
That's another important thing. Mind you, for later in the race.
Oh, I had forgotten about that.
So hop on the bike, and I'm like, all right, well, I wanted to pass 20 people in this race. Let me see if I can pass 200 in Ironman Maine. And so riding. It took me forever to catch you.
It did not. It was mile 5.
Okay.
So, like I've said in previous videos, my goal is to see Billy as late as possible on the bike, and this was 5 miles. It was actually not quite 5 miles because...
You watched that in beep yet?
Yeah. I hadn't gotten the first beep yet.
Well, we rode together then for a while, didn't we?
Yes. I was going to absolutely hold on to you just as long as I could.
Okay. We ended up with a little group that I think we kind of rode with for a little bit.
We did. Yeah, that was
we
good.
We kind of passed them. They passed us, and we passed them. They passed us. It was. We pretty much stayed together for a long time. Anyway, so about the curve, we're going around this curve, and I get Sam could see it because he was behind, but I didn't. What he said was my tire slipped. But what happened was so we were going around a right-hand turn, and I had my right pedal down, which is wrong. You need to have, if you're going around a right-hand turn, you need to have your left pedal down so that if you get too far, your pedal doesn't hit. Well, it actually was kind of beneficial for me because my tire slipped, my pedal hit, the rear of my bike came up off the ground, and then popped back down on the ground as my pedal kind of ground, and I'm like, oh, well, that was dumb. You shouldn't have had your pedal down. But anyway, it's all like within a half of a second, and it could have been awful. And I wasn't going that fast around the curve.
No, sorry. The whole thing happened very fast because I'm right behind you, and I slide on. It was a stop bar, the thermoplastic.
Oh, and it just got slick and being wet.
Yeah, it was damp. It was morning dew, and you hit it, and then I hit it right behind you. I didn't hit it as bad for whatever reason.
I cleaned it off for you.
I really appreciate that, man. So I watched you, and I'm clinched up, and then I do the not as bad but similar slide too. Like, oh man, this is how it ends. This is the race we go out on and can't break the world record.
So now my pedal's all scuffed up from where I did it, but I think it actually started working better.
Is that the power side?
Yes.
No,
it's both. I mean, it's some Garmin pedals. So yeah.
Hey man, I've got these great look pedals, been $100.
Yeah, the Garmin pedals are not $100, but apparently they still work because I did get a reading for the rest of the race.
Hey,
so that was good.
Yeah, shaking some dust off.
Head out on the bike. It was kind of a scenic-ish bike race through the Maine countryside.
Yeah.
I don't
corn. They grow corn in Maine. They grow corn. They don't grow corn in Arizona. This is actually the only state so far that we have missed corn in.
Yeah, they do grow corn everywhere, don't they? We talked to the people that were around us on the bike, and we kind of held a good speed. Faster than I thought that we probably would have gone, but I mean, we were feeling pretty good. I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is a new friendly newbie or whatever first time friendly course. The bikes that I saw out there, it's probably just where we were in the back. Were not time trial. I had a lot of road bikes. I saw a gravel bike out there, and I thought I saw a fat tire. It wasn't, but yeah.
It was straight handlebars though. Straight handlebars and a little bit thicker tire. It wasn't fat tire, but it was thicker than a normal.
So yeah, this was a very friendly race for that. So that's good.
Come in off the bike. Can you think of any stories?
I was trying to come up with stories on the bike. there wasn't much to talk about.
I think at some, did you stop at one of the rest stops or something? At some point, we got separated.
Yeah, I got water every time, and you blew straight on to the other side.
We got the same bike, man. You don't have to get water every time.
I know. I love the water's
The water is nice,
it's
especially
so
when it's
good.
cool too.
Oh, because I get. I have to add salt to my. I use Tailwind Gatorade combination. It's not great. It's just, and so I look forward to the water, nice, just get all of that crap out of my mouth. So yeah, I get water every time.
No. So get out on the run. I'm thinking you'll catch up with me at some point. So for me, I'm like, all right, I'm out on the run. I didn't even really pay attention to what my bike time was. I mean, I'll spend 10 minutes in transition. If you spend 10 minutes in transition,
your race is over.
So I get out on the run, and the first mile or so is before you get to the aid station. I do my run walk, and so that gets, your legs are kind of wonky when you get off the bike, and so the run walk just kind of gives you something to get them back to, hey, we're running now instead of biking. And so I get past so the first aid station is like mile 1.1, 1.2, something like that. So you get right there, I get my stuff, and I drank it, and then I start running again. And when I start running again, this guy comes up from behind me and starts asking about the world record. So if you've seen our Instagram photos, the backs of our tri-suits have, it's just at the top it says races remaining to break the
113,
the 70.3 world record or something like that.
Yeah.
Races remaining to break the world record.
Yeah.
And then we have the numbers 25 through 1, and we've marked off. We start at 25, so when we did our first race, you mark off 25. Now you have 24 remaining, 23, 22. Blah blah blah. Well, now we got a bunch of marks.
More of the marks.
So, and the more of the marks you get, the more interest people have gotten. And so
That's been really interesting.
This guy starts talking, and he starts talking. I'm like, I better run with you. So I start running with him, and we talked for a little while. And by the time we got to finish talking about stories or whatever, we'd been 2 miles or so, and I hadn't stopped and walked, and I was going. I hadn't even paid attention to my watch about how fast I was going. And I was like, you on your first loop or your second loop? Because I'm on my first loop, so I'm just assuming everybody's on their first loop. No, this dude's on his second loop, so he's already 6 miles ahead of me, 6.5 miles ahead of me. And I'm like, oh, okay, do you have a particular time that you're shooting for? And he's like, yeah, I'm shooting for under 5 hours. And so he told me his swim time and his bike time and his transition times, and we were like, okay, well, you have to get X, so we did math, which is surprisingly hard while you're running. I mean,
I can barely speak, and Billy's over here doing algebra.
Yeah, no, it was just addition and subtraction, but whatever. It is actually kind of hard to do. So we figured out what he needed, and we're like, oh, okay, well, if we keep running this pace, you're going to make it. I'm like, I can keep running this pace. But all right, let's try and see. So now I feel a responsibility that I need to help this guy get his under 5 hours. Ipswich. So he's from Ipswich. Greg, I think is his name. But anyway, I call him Ipswich because he's from Ipswich, Massachusetts. Anyway, hey man, if you're out there watching this. So I'm like, all right, I feel a responsibility. Let's go. Yeah. All right, so I'm running, and I mean I'm looking at my watch. I've never run this fast in one of these races before in my life. But what I have in my back pocket is when I'm done with this dude, when he goes off, I can go back to my run walk, right? I mean, all I got to do is just kind of bust it for a few more miles, and he'll get his time. And I'll get to go back to my run walk, no big deal. So I mean, we do that, and at some point it's pushing for both of us. I mean, because I know he's getting tired and I'm getting tired, and we're like, oh, we got it, keep going. And so when you make the turnoff to go to the finish line, he still had like probably close to a mile left, but. I gave him a high five, told him to go get it, and to let me know what his time was. And he ended up getting a 4:48, which was awesome. Yeah. So good for him, because he let us know on Instagram. And so I go back to do my second loop. So same thing. I do my second loop, and I went ahead and I go run to the first aid station, which is actually only like a half a mile or so from that turnoff. And I get to the first aid station, and I'm walking through it get water, and then I start jogging again, and this lady passes me, and I'm like, okay, well, she looks like she's running a pace that I can run, and so I just start running behind her. And it ends up being a pretty aggressive pace, but it's a pace that I feel like I can run, and so I'm like, all right, well, let's just see how long I can hang with her. Well, I mean, I'm right behind her for, I don't know, 2 miles, 3 miles. We don't say anything to each other. I'm just right behind her.
Creepy.
Yeah, I know, man. That's exactly what it was.
Just creepy. It's cool.
Yeah.
Just gotta breathe on your shoulder a little bit.
And so anyway, we do the out and back or whatever, so she knows I'm there. I mean, she knows exactly, and so she keeps looking back just to see if I'm still there. And finally, I was like, "Thank you for pacing me." So you're doing a great job. And she's like, "Oh, thank you for pushing me. You're pushing me hard." And I'm like, "All right, well, let's take it into the finish," because we had 3 miles left, or 3 or 4 miles left, and so we don't really talk other than just encouraging stuff.
Nice.
And she's talking about people that, so she's picking people in front.
Yeah.
I want to pass this person, so we run into pass this person. And then you pick somebody else, and you keep doing that.
Love it.
And then towards the very end, either she's getting tired or she's tired of talking to me. I'm going to choose that she's getting tired because I start picking people for her.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, go get this person.
There you go.
So we start walking people down like that, and she finishes right in front of me. I mean, I let her. Get her
spot,
pictures and everything or whatever, and then we got a big high five at the end. But in the meantime, at mile 10, so I'm like, I'm gonna run this pace. What I decided was I want to finish a 70.3 Ironman 70.3 before noon.
Okay.
Never happened in my life. Had the opportunity to do it because we started at the crack of dawn. So if I can finish before noon, that would be a super big accomplishment for me. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm not even going to look until mile 10. You just do whatever you think you can do until mile 10, and then mile 10 you can look and you can see if that's something that you can do. So I get to mile 10, and I look at the time, and I'm like, I can walk. I can walk the next 3 miles, and I'll be done before noon. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Let me see actually how long I've been racing. And so I look at the race, and I'm like, well, this could be a PR. So I look at my watch, and I know I want to finish before noon, and I'm like, okay, this might be a PR. So I'm like, all right, well, what do I need to do to make it a PR? And I'm like, all right, well, I'm doing the pace that I need to do to be a PR. Let's see what we can do. And so I take it in at a pace faster than I probably normally would. And sure enough, even with the slow swim, even with the 10-minute transition, it was a PR, which was, I mean,
Good for you,
the temperature had to be the deal. But whatever, it ended up being a PR. So it was good. Yeah, it was a good race for me.
That's awesome.
Thank you. All right, so tell me about your run.
I did not get a PR. Let me go ahead and fast forward to the end.
But you cut 45 minutes off your time from the previous day.
Yeah, that's because I was sandbagging on Saturday like nobody's business.
Okay.
So
well, whatever. 45 minutes is a good.
Hey, man, I'm still dealing with my Achilles issue.
He's the first time he mentioned the Achilles thing. I mean, this is fake. Don't let it fake. He beat me 3 races in a row. Oh, I got an Achilles problem. Oh, but I'm going to beat you 3 races in a row.
Sounds like you were sandbagging then. I don't,
I
just got a PR.
I was not sandbagging then.
Oh man. So starting off slowly off of the bike, and found I couldn't find anybody whose pace I was really just on fire with. Talked to a lot of fun people. It's really interesting. Grand Rapids last weekend and Maine, both their seasons were over. This was the last race for the season. For Florida, we take a little hiatus, so it kind of ends in June and then starts back up in September. So that was that part has been really interesting. To see early season June, July. Lots of the people that I talked to had races coming up, and now this is it. I'm packing it in for the winter.
Winter comes early in Maine, I suppose.
It's fair.
It comes earlier than in Florida, I suppose.
Yeah, it's, but that's interesting how everybody schedules their season, and Ironman is at a minimum. I mean, it'll draw internationally. You'll have some people from outside of the country, but primarily it's going to be a regional draw, right? So from that state and the surrounding states. Is where the bulk of your competitors are coming from. So that part has been very interesting to see the different, personalities and race types. This race, I feel like, had a lot of first timers in it, or just based off the bikes and the people that I talked to. I talked to one girl whose boyfriend had done one, and so she was doing one, but this was her first triathlon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're going all out with an ocean swim, too, man.
Yeah. So, tried to be encouraging there with, that was actually a little bit of a rough swim. So if you felt comfortable enough in that, then you're great. There's nothing that's going to be any worse than that. That's not true. It's Panama City 2016. I can actually picture the worst swim I've ever had.
I mean, they were saying there was 4-foot waves last year, so
this everybody was probably happy.
Or last time they did the race, whenever it was.
This was. Oh man, sorry, I left my hat over here. So talked to a few people on the run, but
you can go get it.
I crossed the finish line. Professional filming. We have all the props ready. So they gave us the hat, and this, of course, is the hat, and this is the hats we have been getting for the last 3 or 4 months.
Two or three.
Okay.
2 months, because
2 months
we had those white Ironman hats for a long time.
So we're super grateful on that. But the tag, we're gonna zoom in on the bottom there. Congratulations on your 2020 finish.
So those hats have been in storage for a little while.
But how did the first hats just have Ironman on them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
man.
I have so many questions.
This was such a late season race. I mean, maybe they thought that it was going to pull off last year.
So they printed them all out. I mean, because this has been the style. So the dot matrix thing on the hat with whatever the race colors are. So yeah, very interesting. This is the first time we've had that tag. So they may have just been ripping the tags off of them. So they didn't say 2020. Or they may have just had a box of 2020 tags that got attached. But really interesting.
So after the race, we went back to Georgia's parking lot and took apart our bikes, and then went and found all of the Ironman people to take pictures with. Kind of a relaxed atmosphere after the race, because our flight was the next day. We were heading back to Boston to a hotel. But I don't know. I mean,
we met a guy in the parking lot who were eating. All right, so you have post race food, and we're eating. And one of the guys that we talked to said, "Oh, you're the Crozier boys." I was like, "Oh man, we're infamous now.
We have fans."
And so, if you're not Sydney and you're watching this, you're among those fans. Sydney might be a fan too. I don't know if that counts. Or she has to. But yeah, that was a really cool feeling that somebody had heard of what we were doing.
Yeah. Probably from us talking on the race course.
Yes.
I mean, because when you're talking, other people are listening. I mean, I know that I listen on other conversations just because, I mean, you're running, you're in your own head, you just, so if you're talking to somebody else
to hear.
that probably helps. And Sam talks all the time, so that's probably where they heard it from.
We don't ever have to worry about me being in my own head.
Yeah.
Sorry for the coughing.
So head back to the hotel.
Yeah, so we have our hotel in Boston this time.
Yeah.
So Poor Ironman or Orchard Beach. We never actually spent, other than the $20 that we paid for parking. No
we
money
didn't even
was
buy lunch or anything in there. Yeah, $20 cash and the race fee is all Orchard Beach. That was the and I guess Ironman probably took the race fee. So
Oh man,
didn't even get gas there.
no. Orchard Beach got the short end of that stick. That's our fault. So we never spent any money.
No, we got to spend some money in Massachusetts though.
Whoo! And we need to talk about that hotel.
Man,
So, if the name of your hotel has airport in it, we're it was Holiday Inn Express, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Holiday Inn Express Logan Airport, which was not super close to Logan Airport, by the way.
11 miles.
And you say on Priceline you have a shuttle.
You should provide said shuttle.
It's kind of your thing. That's
Yeah.
what you do.
Yeah, they did not provide said shuttle.
And not the first time, ironically, that's happened. Where was that? I don't know.
Wisconsin, maybe?
Yeah, we were
I don't
somewhere,
know, somewhere.
and the van was broken. The shuttle was broken. But they paid for Uber for us.
Yeah.
So, hey, thank you so much. They did a great job.
Yeah, we didn't have any complaints to that. I mean, you don't provide the airport shuttle, I get it, but you provided us an Uber to the airport.
Yeah.
We're good with that. This one they did not, and it was not a cheap taxi ride either.
No.
We spent, it was $40 to get back from the airport, and
Yeah, so
$50 to get there. So
The way that we do this is, especially these, we will turn the rental car in on Sunday, fly out on Monday. So, you get something to eat, you go turn in the rental car, then you come back to the hotel, sleep, and then wake up and fly out.
I mean, that saves you a rental car day. You don't have to
Yeah.
pay the extra day for the rental car. That's why you go ahead and do that.
Pro tip. Cheap tip. Apparently, we now have to call for every hotel. Even the Holiday Inn Expresses, which, I mean, that's one of the nicer hotels we've stayed in.
Yeah.
So it's,
They
hugely
absolutely-
disappointing.
Yeah.
Um,
I argued with that clerk. I mean, poor thing. She kept calling the manager, and the manager was like, "No," and I'm like, no. You say. I mean, she said we don't provide a hotel shuttle. We don't advertise that anymore. So I pull up the website. Yes, you do.
I mean, so
I probably wouldn't have been as mad if the hotel was within sight of the airport or something.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've walked to the airport before.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it was. I mean, literally, it was a $40 taxi ride after we dropped off the rental car without luggage, and then $50 with luggage to get back to the airport. That was
that guy was awesome though. So
yeah.
like,
we got the $50. We got a tour of Boston.
Amazing.
East Boston, I think is what he was calling it, but whatever it was, yeah, we loved him. That was worth it. But doesn't matter. The hotel should have paid for it.
Not impressed. So, and then
don't stay at the Holiday Inn Express Logan Airport. Don't
if you're expecting.
We've already given them a negative review, and we're in negotiations with Priceline to get our money back because and it's negotiations.
All right. So, looking forward to the next video. Will be wherever we are now.
We don't know how to pronounce it. It's
Casadaga?
Casadaga.
We don't know. We're going to find out. So stay tuned to find out how in the world to pronounce this race south of Buffalo with 3,500 feet of climbing. Yay! So excited.
The climbing doesn't bother me. I don't think it's the big climbs. So if we see any big climbs, we'll let you know.
You got some big climbs. All right. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye.